we talk about private label. So there is an assumption, I guess, and a lot of research, and there's been a lot of articles that, in times of recession, people are more likely to switch to private label. And then I guess if you're making that assumption, and let's say that assumption is correct, and let's challenge that assumption, how do you maintain the relevance of the brand? Ajay, let's kick off with you on this one.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. No, thank you. Great question again. Absolutely. It's let's just again take a step back. I'll start my answer the same way like I did the last one, which is about if you think about 2008 recession, right? What was the learning out of it? Absolutely, what you said is right. People moved from branded goods to private label in order to cut their spends or in order to trade down. But there was more to it than just switch to private label, right? So let me just break it down slightly. So if you think about it, they moved away from small convenience stores, local stores to hypermarket and supermarkets. They moved from local stores to discounters. And when they moved those channels, they actually moved to private label as well at the same time. And in response to that, what brands did, they went in and did aggressive promotion, they did pricing. But what ultimately the customer wants to do or the shopper wants to do is cut spend and trade down as such, right? If you think about like recession, okay, so in 2008, the recession was about, say, 15 months technically, and I'm just quoting this from the Mintel and Kantar studies that were done. But in order to build the confidence of the shoppers and consumers, it took about 6 years in the UK to do that, right? Whereas if you compare this now to 2020 recession, which Rishi Sunak will say, it's the deepest recession that we have seen in the UK so far, right? And combined with that, it's a pandemic recession. So it's not just like a regular 2008 recession, where it was all about value, all about getting the best deals, shop around, go to different places. It's a pandemic recession. And what comes with pandemic recession is hygiene. You want to make sure what you're buying is hygienic. You want to make sure what you're getting is nutritious value. You want to make sure that the products that you're consuming and that you're giving to your children and your family are superiority. They have product superiority. And because of these things, right, that switch immediately to private label becomes slightly trickier. Because what we have seen is, again, I'm quoting these studies from Kantar and Mintel. What is important to our consumers? It's hygiene. They want natural ingredients. They don't want processed foods, and they're looking for locally sourced foods, right? So these were the three key things that came out of this. And our products, our offerings, again, I'm very specific to Kellogg's, our offerings are exactly in that direction. They are hygiene, they're trusted and loved. So the appeal is increasing, and we have seen that in our data, right? I mean, during this COVID, during this pandemic time, we have seen in-home consumption increase, and we have seen people actually that left us came back. We have lapsed user that came back, and we have new users, new penetration coming in. So there is a lot of changes that is happening, which is different to 2008. So saying a blanket statement that people will go to private label might not be so true. And there are different nuances that we should consider in this. And there are various things that we are doing within Kellogg's to make sure that we are retaining those customers. We are making sure that those shoppers stay with us just because the food that we are offering. And I don't know if you've in terms of the food offerings is one thing that I'm also thinking about the pack sizes that we have to make sure that people are not everybody is the same, right? Not everybody is looking for nutritious value. Some people also want to cut down their budget because everybody's financial circumstances are different. So create a price packaging architecture so that there is an entry level pack and then there is a family pack for people that want to spend less or the people that want to just reduce their price per kilo as such. So if you offer those things, you can actually somehow safeguard your business during these recession times. And obviously, Chris touched about, the increased investment in above the line. This is very proven even in 2008. the manufacturers or the companies that went heavy with above the line support came out stronger after the recession. And that's our strategy. If you again, I'm coaching my CEO's financial learning call. That's what was discussed. We kind of went out to the stock market and said we will be going heavy in H2, so half year this year. Basically, we'll be going heavy in, and there is a reason behind it. We want to come out stronger out of this recession, and that's how we will safeguard ourselves from private label. Does that help?
That's incredible. Yes. And I think what I love about what you were talking about there is the need to demonstrate value and understand consumers. Again, let's put ourselves in the shoes of consumers. If I'm a family, what size pack of cereal, for example, do I want to be buying? If I'm thinking about coming back, what are my considerations there? But also, I think, you're absolutely right to say, let's not treat this recession the same as the last one. This is now being termed as the first natural disease-driven recession of modern times. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but that is what it is. It's not a like-for-like situation, and therefore consumer mindset will be different. There's a lot of comfort to be had in brands that we trust and love, and people will go back to them. Chris, from your perspective, from a perspective of, spend, I suppose, in brand versus pricing promotions, retaining the value of the brand during a recession. And I know, we at Game Theory, and you've also written a lot about this around sort of short-term, medium and long-term investment. What are your thoughts there? Should we be concerned, or actually, or should brands be concerned, or actually is there something that they need to do to kind of really work through that?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'd say is I just made a note of your naming conventions. The first disease-driven recession of modern times. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue like the GFC does in some ways, but yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think, first of all, it's worth noting, I think, AJ, you touched on this. Look, it's not, private label didn't come into being in 2008. It's been a challenge for many years. And now, clearly in a world where, what was it, the UK dropped GDP by last quarter, 20%, 20.4%? Clearly in a world where that has happened, household budgets, purchasing power is much more likely to be squeezed. Absolutely, that is a fact. And I think it's also a fact that brands have gone under. Brands have already, shops have closed their doors. Brands are cutting back. Companies many old and venerable companies are closing their doors. This will continue. It will be, hard times. That was another potential book title. But in that, there is an opportunity. Just because certain types of brand are deemed too expensive, people trade down into cheaper products, private label. There is an opportunity there, both for new entrants into the market, but also for the more established brands. I think the point you make, AJ, and I think you both mentioned it about entry-level pack sizes. That's got to be crucial. It's much more than just make sure you keep up with your brand spend at this time because the brand is the only thing that's going to see you through this recession. That is important, absolutely. But a much wider picture of marketing, including sort of colleagues within sort of manufacturing, product sizing, RGM, whatever. That price positioning on entry level sizes, which brands typically have much more sort of sizable offerings there than private label do, which don't typically have the same number of sort of pack sizes, multi-packs, big, small, whatever. That's going to be crucial. You're not going to be able to defeat private label, win that on price and promotions at this time, because even if you cut price down to as low as you can and do more and more promotions, you're still going to be more expensive than private label. So you need to give consumers another reason to buy that brand. That's not straightforward, but it's a picture that is much wider, I think, than just let's keep investing in the brand. That is important, but it's a holistic picture. It's about how you're coming across to consumers with the right product, the right again, the right place, the right time. And one last point, I think, Claudia, and you mentioned it, is that to a certain extent, people will take solace in the bigger brands, the well-known brands. It's going to be trickier for certain types of industry sector, and that's important. It's a different sort of world for different categories. I mentioned this at the start that Kellogg's, many food products, staple products, had a very good Q2. How that plays out longer term will be more tricky. Other types of products had a very difficult Q2, but they're sort of coming back a little bit. Where you are in your category, what sort of category you are, will have a huge impact on your relevance and how you can keep people attuned to buying your brand rather than trading down for a cheaper option.
Brilliant, fantastic. Did you want to build on that, Ajay? You look like maybe you want to say something.
No, because I heard Chris talk about offering, variety, taste. I think these are all key ingredients to what Kellogg is doing, right? I mean, we want to make sure that we have that price pack architecture. We want to make sure that we are giving the consumers what they need in this time. Okay, I don't know if you've heard about this one, right? It's called a lipstick effect. So it's basically a pick-me-up sort of thing in the time when people are not able to afford a lot of luxury things. Okay, so the sales of lipstick and makeup and mascaras, they actually go up during these kind of times, and that's something you can look up. I mean, just Google lipstick effect or mascara index, it will come up. But basically, where I'm going with this is it's our products, some of our products which are highly indulging, right? So if you take extra or crunchy nut granola, they are highly indulging, highly chocolate, dark chocolate flavors that come in. What that gives you is it gives you that indulging flavor, and that's something that consumers need and the shoppers need at times. They don't want to splurge a lot of money for something, and they just want to create the best moments for themselves, and that's where this lipstick effect comes from. And I think what Chris touched upon in terms of offering variety, taste, indulgence is a key to defend yourself from private label.